Okay, so first of all, I'm gonna start off with some cars. So we'll start with the neck cars. And you can take a seated position, however you feel comfortable. I'm just gonna kneel, but you can do a cross leg or however. So from here, guys, tuck the chin. Start to reach your chin to your armpit. Look over your shoulder. Drop your ear back, look up. Rotate to the other side. Back through the middle. And guys, while we're doing this, I want you to pay attention to the parts of the rotation that feel the tightest. One more on this direction. Okay, let's go back the other way for 3 reps. All right, guys, wherever you felt the most tightness throughout that rotation. So, for example, I feel quite tight over this way. Just go back to that position, then just take your hand and just gently increase the stretch. So some of you may be down, some of you may be more up. Yeah, just find a spot. You might have more than one, and just gently create stretch. And if you need to change the position you're sitting in, that's also fine. Alright guys, we're just going to do a gentle PAILs and RAILs. So stay where you were, but just start to engage the muscles that are stretching and basically push into your hand. For this one, I don't want you to go any harder than 50% effort. Alright, and now switch to the rails, so contract on the other side, try to get a deeper stretch. And back to passive. Alright guys, come out of that. We're going to go back to the neck throughout this session, but we're just going to move on to the wrists now. So let's do our wrist cars. We're going to do one hand or one wrist at a time. And with your other hand, I want you to grab hold of the wrist. Just below, so you still can move your hand. And with this hand, just pay attention to your elbow. So I don't want your elbow rotating. We just want the wrist moving. All right, so from here, let's point our fingers towards the floor. Now sweep our hand to the inside. Now start to reach up and then point the fingers out. Try to keep your palm flat, back down, and let's go for 3 more rotations this way. Try to make it a smooth rotation. Good stuff. All right, let's go back the other way. So paying attention, making sure our elbow's not rotating. Trying to get as big a rotation as we can. All right, guys, let's switch hands. I'm just gonna change the position I'm sitting in. So yeah, hold that opposite hand. Let's start by pointing the fingers down, sweep to the inside, then reaching up and out. Good. 2 more this direction. Nice job, guys. Back the other way. All right, guys, once you finish those cars, we're gonna start to stretch our wrist in flexion. So this way is flexion, this way extension. So what I want you to do is make a fist, almost like a false grip if you've done a false grip on the rings. Turn this way and then take your other hand and just gently push. So you should feel a stretch on the back of your wrist here. Maybe in also the forearms. So remember, guys, if you are getting too uncomfortable in the position you're sitting, you can just change to a different position. And if anyone doesn't feel a stretch, then let me know. Denise, turn around this way. Yeah, so I guess you're doing this on hand, so yeah, you're push down this way. That's better. Okay guys, so pails, we're going to be pushing up into our hand. Rails, we're going to be contracting on this side. These muscles trying to go further into flexion. Alright, so 20% effort, start pushing. Gradually increase as long as there's no pain. 80%, 3, 2, 1, switch to the rails. And back to passive. All right, guys, come out of that side and we'll switch to the other side, same stretch. No. But like you have your hand facing your body. I just turned it more this way, like so, the other way. Yeah, that way. Now you got it. Yeah. Yeah, I just find it's more of a stretch if I turn my hand that way. Yeah. All right, guys, from that deep stretch position, start to engage, push up into your hand. Push as hard as you can without pain. And switch to the rails. And relax back to passive. Okay, come out of that one, guys. All right. Does everyone have a roller, a foam roller, or PVC? Yeah? All right, no problem. Yeah, if you have one, you can please grab it. Cool. So all we're gonna do, guys, is place the roller behind the neck. And then from here, you're just gonna look side to side. So yeah, just gently look side to side with the neck. You can also adjust the roller, so you can either move the roller further down your neck or further up your neck. And just find those tender spots. So yeah, Jason, we just have the roller behind the neck and we're just looking side to side. All right, guys, take the roller away. We'll just do a back stretch. And I want you to hug your knee to your chest. Take a deep breath. Then as you exhale, bring your knee across your body. Try to leave your shoulders on the ground. Breathe deep into your diaphragm, and every exhale, try to relax more. All right, guys, switch sides. So hug your other knee to the chest. Take a deep breath. And twist and exhale. All right, guys, we're gonna move into the seal position. So basically, up on the arms, and we're extending the spine. However, at the same time, we're gonna be stretching out our wrists. So we're basically gonna do that position with our fingers pointing towards us.
That's really mean.
Well, if it's too intense and it hurts your wrists, then you can just turn your hands around the other way. Also, if it's too much on the back, then just go on your elbows. So just here. Or you could go on your elbows on top of some cushions or some yoga blocks. But yeah, if you're capable, guys, point the fingers in towards you. So yeah, it can be quite intense on the wrists. And guys, from here, let's do some neck cars again. So tuck your chin. Look over your shoulder. Look up. Over to the other side. 2 more this way. And if at any point this is too much for your wrists, just turn your hands around. Or too much for the spine as well. Let's switch sides. Switch directions. All right, guys, once you've done 3 each way, let's go for PAILs and RAILs now for our wrists. So PAILs, we're gonna be driving our fingers or our hands into the ground. And RAILs, we're squeezing behind the wrist, trying to lift our hands and fingers. All right, 20% effort. Push through your fingertips. And push through your knuckles. Push through your palms. Imagine you could dig your fingers through the ground all the way up to max effort. 3, 2, 1. Now squeeze behind the wrists. Try to lift your fingers. And back to passive. All right, guys, come on out of that one. Oh, that was definitely intense on the wrists. Oh. All right, next up, guys, I just want you to find another spot in the neck that may have felt tight during your cars. And we're just gonna hold that again. So I leaned over to the right last time. I'm just gonna lean over to the left this time. And then just take that hand to gently increase the stretch. Okay, guys, let's do a gentle PAILs contraction. Just push into your hand. No more than 50% effort. And now switch to the rails. So engage the other side. And back to passive. All right, guys, come out of that one. And next we are going to go into the frog. But once again, we're going to stretch our wrists at the same time. So, get the knees wide, feet in line with the knees, and then again, turn your palms towards you. So wrists are very important for a lot of exercises. push-ups, burpees, handstands, front rack, overhead, holding the weight, snatches. Puts a lot of force through our wrist. So if we're missing the flexibility and strength, then it can definitely be uncomfortable. So if you want to make this stretch more intense, just move your hands a little further away from you, so further forward. And at the same time, we're trying to gently sit our hips towards our ankles. All right, guys, let's do our pails and rails again for the wrists. So let's push through those fingers. Push through the palm. Imagine you could take a chunk out of the floor with your hand. Ramp that up, max effort. 3, 2, 1, switch to rails. Fight as hard as you can to lift your fingers. And back to passive. All right, guys, come on out of that one. And we're gonna do some more wrist cars now. Except this time, I want you guys to make a fist as you do them. So most of the time we'll do our wrist cars with the palm flat because that's the position that's more difficult and that we need for things like our push-ups and handstands. But it's also good to do them with a fist as well. All right, so let's hold on to that opposite wrist and just close your hand and we'll do those controlled articular rotations. You may find it a little bit easier, you might find a bit more range of motion. All right, let's go back the other way. Good stuff, guys. All right, let's change hands. So guys, once you get the hang of the wrist cars, then you can start to load them up a little bit as long as you don't have pain. So you can hold some light dumbbells in your hands or small plates, even water bottles or something, to add a bit more strength and to challenge the tissues a little bit more. All right, let's change directions. All right, guys, if you have your roller, we're just gonna now do a little bit of work on the shoulders. You could also use a yoga block. We're just gonna use it as a pillow. So we're gonna lie down on our side. Have your elbow coming out about 90-degree angle from the shoulder. Then take your other hand underneath the elbow, and then your other elbow on top of your wrist, and just internally rotate the shoulder. So this is like similar to our sleeper stretch, just slightly different variation. And you want to feel a stretch. You don't want to feel any pinching sensations. So let me know if you feel any pinching. So if you feel a good stretch in this position, you can just stay there. I'm just gonna take my hand so I can push a little bit further down. So our PAILs, we're gonna push up into that hand or into that arm. Rails, we're gonna reach down towards the floor. Throughout this, guys, try to keep your shoulder blade neutral, so you don't want that shoulder popping forwards. All right, so from that nice deep stretch, just start to gently push into that top hand. Gradually increase the effort. Come up to 80%. Max effort as long as there's no pain. And switch to the rails. Don't let that shoulder blade pop forwards. 3, 2, 1, back to passive. Okay, let's switch to the other side. So you can either do this variation where you have your hand under the elbow and then push down using the top elbow, or you can just rest your elbow on the floor and gently push down. Whatever feels best for you. And always remember, guys, if you feel any pinching or pain, let me know, because that's not what we want to feel. Denise, I think you need to go the opposite way. So with this bottom arm. Yeah, so you're facing the opposite way, so you should push this wrist down towards like your hips. So just put your arm straight out like this. Yeah. Now bend your elbow. Okay. And now go down this way. Yeah, that way. Yeah. You feel a stretch? Yes. Okay, good. Okay guys, let's start that PAIL, start pushing up. Gradually increase. Max effort, pain-free. 3, 2, 1. Switch to rails. Try to reach your wrist towards the floor. And back to passive. And come out of that one. Okay, we're just going to finish today with some passive range holds for the wrist. So a passive range hold is when you take a joint into its passive range of motion and then try to hold it actively. And this is an exercise that we use to try and add strength and control to that range of motion to turn it from being flexibility into mobility. So what you're going to do is, on the hands and knees, fingers facing forwards, we're going to lean forwards until we feel a stretch in the wrist. Then you're going to try to engage on this side as if you could lift your fingers, and then you're going to lean back until your fingers come off the ground, and that's 1 rep. Does that make sense? Cool. Also guys, if you're leaning forwards and you're feeling like a pain or a pinch, stop before you feel that. Alright, so let's just lean forwards, find that stretch or that limit. Now engage behind the wrist, try to lift the fingers, slowly rock back until they lift, like just barely off the ground, and then place them back down. Let's lean forwards again. Engage, try to lift, rock back. Good, that's 2. Let's go for 3 more. Engage, lean back, just until you get a millimeter off the ground. Place the fingers down. 2 more. And last one. Good stuff, guys. And I forgot to mention on that one, you don't want to bend the elbow, so Keep the elbow straight on that. You can do a similar one for the ankles. We won't do it now, but you basically push forwards, find your passive range, then you squeeze your shin, try to lift the foot, and then you rock back until the foot lifts. So similar idea for the ankles. All right, guys, let's just lie down on the back. So just as we finish up today's session, I want to give another quick recap of sort of some things we've learned so far in the course. So mobility is flexibility plus strength and control. So it's our active range of motion. We need to get the flexibility first before we can get the mobility. And to get flexibility, we need to stretch for minimum 90 seconds. Normally, I suggest 2 minutes or longer. And then to make that stretch more effective, we can do our PAILs and RAILs contractions. Once we have enough flexibility, that's when we can start to add in strength and control. So that's what we did today with our wrists at the end. We added those passive range holds. And that's basically a strength exercise to make us stronger in that end range of motion, with the goal of improving our wrist mobility. Along with that, guys, we have our controlled articular rotations to maintain what we do have. Also, to get circulation through our joints and synovial fluid. And also, they're great as a warm-up exercise. And they do add some strength and control as well, just doing the cars. So we're pretty much halfway through the course now. And in the last few weeks, I'm going to start to teach you guys more about that end range strength training. So we have the passive range holds, and then we have some other different types of exercises we can do so that we can turn that flexibility into mobility. All right, guys, thank you